Give them a shot to do what?
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you are listening to The Shy Kid and Everything Chicago Sports Related podcast, brought to you by the Give Us a Shot Network. Check us out. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. Hit that share button if you haven't already, because we're making content every single day. Whether you're tired of seeing my mug, there's so many other amazing faces you can see. Ty, Germ, Michael Powers, Germ, Burt. We can do it all day long to protect our queens because March Madness is going crazy. So make sure you give us a like, a share, a follow. Check out the network on all social media platforms: TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere around the moon you can find Give Us a Shot Network. But let's get into it, man, because last night we didn't do a post-game live. Obviously, I'm trying to do once a day. We're not trying to spam the network. But man, I was itching to get in here and talk to you guys about the Chicago Cubs 11-2 loss to the Texas Rangers last night. I mean, you know, it was a bittersweet moment, a bittersweet feeling for me. You know, Ben Brown, who we talked about, you know, him and I have known each other for a couple years now, and I've been covering him from AA to AAA all the way on since we acquired him in the Dave Robertson trade. And, you know, what a dope story. You know what I mean? He gets traded August 2nd, 2022 to the Chicago Cubs in exchange for Dave Robertson to the Philadelphia Phillies for their little World Series run. I'm not going to call it a little World Series, but for their World Series run. Let me be respectful. And then in his debut, he's playing against Dave Robertson and the Texas Rangers. So everything was kind of full circle. It was a cool moment. But Ben got obliterated. You know, Kyle Hendricks got obliterated. The entire staff got obliterated from a pitching perspective. It was just a bad game. And you know what? Here's the thing. We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it, but there's so many different storylines for this game that, you know, we can talk about to why the Chicago Cubs lost this game, but it all starts with the starting pitching. We understand now that Justin Steele is going to miss all of April, according to Craig Counsell. Grade 1 hamstring injury, or it was a grade A, if I'm not mistaken. I forget how he quoted it exactly, but it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. We're in this part of the season already to where it's like we have to question how good is this bullpen going to potentially be to be able to save our starters, because we don't have a lot. Jameson Taillon's throwing bullpen right now. He's coming off a back injury he suffered earlier in spring training. Justin Steele is going to miss a month. How long is it going to take for him to be 100% till they throw him back out there? You know, there's a lot of questions right now. A lot of questions, not a lot of answers. Jordan Wicks, he's on the mound today. We're going to get into the lineup and more in a little bit. But, you know, to continue to recap that, you know, Kyle Hendricks starts the game. You know, he gets out of a jam early, you know, a nice strike 3 to end the inning in the first, but 3.2 innings pitched, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 walks, and 2 strikeouts. You know, and we understand what this season means for Cubs fans and Kyle Hendricks. It is the last dance, most likely. It's his final year of his contract. He is the last remaining player from the 2016 World Series champion Chicago Cubs. So it's emotional. But we also understood towards the end of last season that maybe last year should have been the last year. You know, and I'm not saying that, you know, one performance is the end-all, be-all for Kyle Hendricks this season. There were multiple games last season where he almost threw a no-hitter. One against the Giants, and I forget who the other one was against. But, you know, Kyle's been relatively solid in the 2023 season after coming back from an injury, you know, starting the year in Iowa, comes back early May, if I'm not mistaken. And, you know, he balls out. So I'm excited to see the rest of the season for him, but it was a tall order when you see Adolis Garcia and Marcus Simeon and Wyatt Langford and Corey Seager in the lineup. It was just it was a lot to ask, especially from guys like Ben Brown, who were supposed to be making a start in AAA Iowa tonight, or last night, I should say. And then gets flown out to Texas because of the Justin Steele situation. And it's like, you're asking him to go up against the number one offense in baseball right now. Like, it's crazy. The World Series championship lineup, who just added the biggest phenom in years in Wyatt Langford. So, I'm not holding too much to it. Jose Cuas and Luke Little were the only guys who didn't throw the other night outside of Ben Brown. But Ben Brown obviously wasn't on the roster the other night. So they came in. Cuas looked great. 2 strikeouts in 1.1 innings pitched, 0 hits, 0 earned runs. Luke Little looked solid as well. He gave up 1 hit with 1 K in 1 inning pitched. Ben Brown looked great in the first go around. In the first inning, he pitched 1.2 innings. He got out the jam very early on, but the second go around, because obviously Craig Counsell wanted him to eat some innings so you didn't have to waste more of the bullpen so they could be rested for today. He gets absolutely lit up. 5 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, and 1 K. Yency Almonte finished the game with 0.1 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, and 0 strikeouts. So, it wasn't a great day whatsoever for the Cubs from a pitching perspective. I will say this, and Theo Epstein, who is a genius and one of the best general managers of all time, there's no doubt about it. He did have an issue with, 1, trading prospects, and 2, waiting for them to develop. I felt like he rushed a lot of guys. He rushed Ian Happ, he rushed David Bodie, he rushed a couple other cats that we can name and go on and on and on about. But Jed Hoyer, who was working under Theo at that time, I feel like, in my personal opinion, has been doing the same thing. I felt like Miguel Amaya was a little rushed, and luckily enough for Miguel, it's worked out relatively well. Matt Mervis was a little rushed. You had him go from single A, double A, triple A, and then to the majors all in the 365-day span. P. Crow Armstrong, who skipped college, comes to double A, boom, comes to triple A. He's there for 5 minutes. Now you're in the bigs in September and you go 0 for 10. And it's like, I think you look at that and you ask yourself, are we putting our prospects in position to have success? My biggest question for Jed Hoyer and the Chicago Cubs is, why are we rushing this? You know what I mean? I see Owen Casey's already starting in AAA. That's great. I love Owen Casey. But if you're just going to bring him up in a couple months, why? You know what I mean? When you already have Seiya and Cody and Ian, you know what I mean? Like, and Talkman, it just doesn't make sense. Ben, who spent a lot of last year injured, gets a few starts in AAA, not a lot. He's supposed to start the night in AAA Iowa. This is one of your cornerstone pitching prospects that you have. And that's just real. And you're rushing it. And then, here's a great comment right here by Muhammad in the chat. Look at Matt Shaw now. And I agree. I agree that they're going to try to get Matt Shaw up here as quickly as possible. And listen, I'm not one to say you have to sit down there for X amount of time. If you're ready, you're ready. But to fly through pipelines, to say, oh, well, he had 6 at-bats in AAA and he was batting .450, so he's ready. Whoa, chill out. Let him develop. Let him get into a good groove. Let him get into who he's going to be, get a feel for big league pitching, or as close as it's going to come to it. And then we'll go from there. But I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see how things pan out and how things are going to start going for the Chicago Cubs, because I don't want to see guys like Ben Brown fail. Like I said, Ben and I are good friends. I've been covering him for multiple years. He is a sponge. He walks into any room, into any organization, and not only do they respect him, but he respects them. And he is such an open book, and he is so great at just soaking in material and being a student of the game. So I understand that Ben, was put in a crap situation last night, literally flown out from Iowa to Texas or wherever he was. I don't know if it was an Iowa home game. And then you're just pitching against the defending World Series champions lineup. You know what I mean? So it's tough. It's definitely tough. I expect Ben to be in the starting rotation in the month of April. I don't see them going with Smiley. I would imagine that he is going to get a start against the Dodgers at some point. I would imagine it goes, Shota Imanaga, Javier Assad, and then maybe you throw in Ben Brown right after that. Depends. It really depends. Now, because they used them 2 innings, so I really have no idea. Outside of that, let's talk about the lineup. The Chicago Cubs, from a leadoff perspective, who we're going to talk about the lineup in a couple minutes for today's game with Jordan Wicks on the mound. But last night, Nico Hoerner's leading off. He goes 0 for 4. The other night, Ian Happ led off. He went 0 for 4 with a walk. So the leadoff spot for the Cubs in 2 games is 0 for 8 with a walk. We got to get on base. We got to get on base, and we got to get on base early. Seiya Suzuki, Cody Bellinger, Christopher Morel, those are all amazing individuals to have drive-in runs. Like Dansby Swanson, Ian Happ, Garrett Cooper, Yan Gomes, Michael Busch. Like, that's the lineup last night. And you look at that and you're like, how do we only put up 2 runs? Now, Dansby Swanson hit the first Cubs home run of the year. Shout out to him. Mansby. And his wife was doing work for the Chicago Red Stars as well. So shout out to her. The Swansons were in full effect last night for Chicago. But, he drives in Christopher Morel, who Christopher Morel had a solid game last night. He had 2 hits, 1 run, 4 at-bats. Outside of that, though, Seiya Suzuki's 0 for 4. Nico Horner's 0 for 4. Cody Bellinger's 0 for 3. Miguel Amaya pinch hit. He got walked. That was cool. Ian Happ has 1 hit and 3 at-bats. Garrett Cooper has 1 hit. Yan Gomes is 0 for 3. Michael Busch is 0 for 3. Like, guys just couldn't tap in whatsoever. It just came down to it at the end of the day. So from a leadoff perspective, we definitely have to figure it out. Ian Happ's back at it today. We're going to get into that lineup. Actually, we can get into it right now. Jordan Wicks is on the mound for the Chicago Cubs, facing off against right-handed pitcher John Gray for the Texas Rangers. Marcus Semien is leading off for the Texas Rangers. Wyatt Langford will be in left field. He won't be DHing today as Corey Seager has a day off. They're trying to switch up a couple things. Josh Jung is going to be at third base, batting third. Adolis Garcia will be DHing at cleanup. Duran is shortstop. Kinzer is your catcher. Walsh is your first baseman. Carter is in right field, and Tavares is in center field. Now, with that being said, the Chicago Cubs roster today it is interesting. Ian Happ is DHing at leadoff, followed by Seiya Suzuki batting second in right field. Cody Bellinger in center field again, batting third. Christopher Morel is back at third base at cleanup, which yesterday Christopher Morel could have got Ben Brown out of a jam and flip a double play, but right off his glove, a heat missile straight to the third base line. We got to see better plays defensively from Christopher Morel. That was the talk all offseason, and it's going to continue being the talk until he kind of solidifies that defensive role. That's exactly why Nick Madrigal starts the first game, and they substitute him for Miles Mastrobuoni late in the game. I believe Christopher Morel can be a great third baseman, but we need to see it at the MLB level. Dansby Swanson is batting fifth. Michael Busch is batting sixth at first base. Nico Horner is batting seventh at second base. Mike Tauchman is going to be in left field batting eighth, and Miguel Amaya is getting his first start of the year alongside Mike. He will be catcher today. So we have in order Ian Happ, Seiya Suzuki, Cody Bellinger, Christopher Morel, Dansby Swanson, Michael Busch, Nico Horner, Mike Tauchman, the Palatine Pounder, and Miguel Amaya is under the dish with Jordan Wicks on the mound. Going into year 2, Jordan Wicks is a stud, man. Jordan Wicks is an absolute monster. And I'm excited to see what the future holds for him. But, again, tall order. We're 0-2 in the series right now. This is the last game of the series before we head home against the Rockies. Hopefully that'll, get a better taste in our mouth against Chris Bryant and the Rockies, because they seem like one of the worst teams in baseball right now. But it's definitely rough. It's definitely rough when you face off against the defending champ so early on. But there's no excuses. You know what I mean? Like, we definitely could have won game 1. You know what I mean? In game 2, you just shit the bed. Point blank period. You know what I mean? So there's no other way around it. But, I'm excited for today. I'm excited for the matchup. John Gray is typically a sub-4 ERA caliber pitcher, so I think the Cubs offense can attack early. It really is just going to depend on Jordan Wicks. But with Corey Seager out the lineup, maybe you can do something there. I'm hoping the Cubs win today, man. I really do. I really hope this is the game. I really hope this is the day where you could say, hey, at least we took 1 out of 2. We made the first game really competitive. That's really all that matters. So I'm excited nonetheless, man. Again, we got to figure out the leadoff spot. We need to get a hit in the leadoff spot. 0 for 8 with 1 walk right now between Nico and Ian. So Ian's got another opportunity today to fix that. But it's going to come eventually. You know what I mean? As sure as God made green apples. But it's going to be interesting, man, to see how this matchup plays out tonight. But with that being said, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody being here. Smack that follow button if you haven't already. We are giving you live, up-to-date Chicago Cubs content 24/7. Happy Easter to all who celebrate. Thank you for being here at the Give Us a Shot Network. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe. Share this out to anybody who you think knows and loves sports in general. Don't forget to check out Protect Our Queens, because we have an amazing Elite 8 going on right now in women's basketball. And the Final Four is going to be even crazier. Monday is going to be elite. We have Caitlin Clark's revenge game against LSU and Angel Reese. It's going to be a lot of fun to see those amazing women go at it, get after it. Obviously, Dawn Staley's name ain't going anywhere, and Juju Watkins is doing her thing. So with that being said, man, I'll check you guys out later. This has been Mike Hughes, a.k.a. The Shy Kid. Let's get ready for Game 3. Let's go Cubs, baby.
Give them a shot to do what?